On trope application, we're going to review the trope that we did in the previous video and see how they're applied to text within the Torah. So the way you learn a Torah reading is you read the Hebrew, you figure out what the tropes are, the names and the sounds, and then you chant the trope with the Hebrew. Okay? So step by step, let's do that. So we have Bereshit, bara Elohim, et hashamayim, ve'et haaretz. Again, trope gives you phrasing, as we'll see later. This is our comma and this is our period. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay? So looking at our tropes from the previous video, I want you to try to get away from reading the words up here above the above the tropes. These are the trope names, but we're only going to be using the symbols and the what they look like, okay? So start looking below the words. In this case, there are tropes that appear above words, but you're lucky in this first week's class, it's only below the words. So we have Tipcha munach et nachta mercha tipcha mercha sof pasuk. Okay, try it again. Tipcha munach et nachta mercha tipcha mercha sof pasuk. Okay, so adding in the Hebrew, Bereshit, we're not going to move until we see the trope. It's also where the Hebrew accent's going to go. So one or two words at a time. We have underneath Bereshit, Tipcha. Bereshit is how you sing Tipcha underneath Bereshit, is how you sing Bereshit with Tipcha, vice versa. Next we have Munach et nachta bara Elohim, bara Elohim. And then we have et hashamayim mercha tipcha, et hashamayim mercha sof pasuk, ve'et haaretz. So try the whole thing. Bereshit bara Elohim, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. On to Noah. We're introduced to who his sons are. We're going to first read the Hebrew, figure out the trope, and then apply the trope to the Hebrew. Okay? So let's read the Hebrew. Vayoled Noach Shelosha Vanim et Shem et Cham ve'et Yafet. So we have Mercha Tipcha Munach et Nachta Tipcha Mercha sof pasuk. I realize the font for this is not great. I'll do better in the next video, I promise. And for the next pages that I hand to you in the next class. So we have underneath the words Vayoled Noach Mercha Tipcha Vayoled Noach Shlosha Vanim Munach et Nachta Shelosha Vanim et Shem et Cham ve'et Yafet. Tipcha mercha sof pasuk et Shem et Cham ve'et Yafet. Try the whole verse. Vayoled Noach Shelosha Vanim et Shem et Cham ve'et Yafet. So we've done our application. We read the Hebrew. We figured out what the tropes were. And then we applied it to the Hebrew. It's as simple as that in my mind. It will get harder as we get more challenging tropes, and this is cumulative. So every class is going to include the previous tropes that we learned and the new ones that we're learning for that day. But if you know these, you're set with a really good start, because these tropes will appear in any Torah that you have in the future. So let's read the Hebrew. Ve'etna veriti beini uveinecha ve'arbe otcha bim'od me'od. We see our phrasing. Ve'etna veriti, I will establish my covenant. Beini uveinecha, between me and you. At nachta right here. Ve'arbe otcha, and I will make you bim'od me'od, exceedingly numerous. This is where God is making a covenant with Avram. He's not Avraham yet, he's just Avram. So adding in our tropes, again, I want you to start just looking underneath the words, okay? So maybe not this week because I know it's teeny tiny. Hopefully it's bigger on your sheet, but underneath the words. So we look at Mercha Tipcha Munach et Nachta Mercha Tipcha Mercha Sof Pasuk. If you're not there yet, I've given the answers to you below, okay? But you're not always going to have this, okay? In general, you're only going to see the words with the tropes underneath them. So, Mercha Tipcha Munach et Nachta Mercha Tipcha Mercha Sof Pasuk. So, reading the Hebrew, figuring out the trope, applying it to the Hebrew. So we have Ve'etna veriti Mercha Tipcha Ve'etna veriti Beini uveinecha Munach et Nachta Beini uveinecha Ve'arbe otcha Mercha Tipcha Ve'arbe otcha bim'od me'od Mercha sof pasuk bim'od me'od. We try the whole verse in its entirety. Ve'etna veriti beini uveinecha ve'arbe otcha bim'od me'od. Hopefully you're getting the hang of it. Same thing, we're going to read the Hebrew, figure out what the tropes are, apply the trope, okay, to the Hebrew. So we have V'gam et ben ha'ama legoy asimenu ki zar'acha hu. Okay, this is where Hagar has been kicked out, and Abraham feels bad and wants to ask God, what happens to her? What do I do? I have this other child, Ishmael. And so Abraham says, I'm sorry, not Abraham, God says, V'gam et ben ha'ama, as for the son of the slave woman, legoy asimenu, I will make a nation of him too. Ki zar'acha, for he is your who? Seed. Okay? So we have V'gam et ben ha'ama legoy asimenu ki zar'acha hu. We're going to look at the tropes. I'm going to ask you to, I'm only going to point out underneath, for our last example in this video, I'm only going to point underneath where the tropes appear. You can follow along down here should you choose, but start to get used to just finding the tropes amidst all of these vowel sounds. I know they're really hard to see in here though. So under here, Mercha Tipcha Munach et Nachta Mercha Tipcha Sof Pasuk. So read the Hebrew, figure out the tropes, apply it to the text. So V'gam et ben ha'ama. And we're not going to move until we see the trope. So tipcha, the sound of tipcha is going to be dragged out until we hear this mem. Okay? So V'gam et ben ha'ama. Mercha tipcha. V'gam et ben ha'ama. Legoy asimenu. Munach et nachta. Legoy asimenu. Ki zar'acha hu. Mercha tipcha. Sof pasuk. Ki zar'acha hu. The whole verse. V'gam et ben ha'ama. Legoy asimenu. Ki zar'acha hu. And that is group 1. Mercha, Tibcha, Munach, et Nachta, and Sof Pasuk. Excellent job. See you in the next class.